So this practice will incorporate a restorative yoga pose with a specific breathing pattern. And you'll need some props for this one. So I have two blankets here. I also have a yoga bolster. And if you don't have a yoga bolster, two bed pillows will work. If you have any sort of a thick cushion or a thick rolled blanket, that can serve in place of having a yoga bolster. So we're going to lay on our backs and we're going to use our blankets to support the spine in a specific way. So you can place your bolster like maybe a third of the way from the bottom of your mat. This is going to be support for the backs of the knees. And then we'll use the blankets to support the spine. So you want to fold a blanket. So I have my blankets folded in half once and then in half again. So you kind of want to be sure that you have this sort of medium-sized rectangle. And we're going to do a tri-fold. You'll fold the blanket back and forth, or sometimes called an accordion fold. So you go back and forth once and then twice. And what that does, it creates kind of like a stacked blanket. So this first blanket will run vertically along your mat. You can have some space between your leg support and this first blanket. And then you want to do the exact same thing with your second blanket. So going back and forth once and then twice. Good. And this one, when you lay it on top, you want it to be staggered away from the end of the first blanket. So there's sort of this tiered-like system to your blanket setup. And then this end of the blanket that's sort of hanging off the end here, you can fold that in. Now, you might have to adjust like all the placement of these props once you lie down on your back. So just be aware that that might be the case. So you'll bring your knees up and over the bolster or your pillows or whatever cushion you manage to conjure up for the practice today. And then you want to pull the blanket stack so that it's right up at your tailbone. And this first layer of your blanket is going to support like that flat triangular bone at the base of your spine called your sacrum. The second layer of blanket is going to support you right at your lowest ribs. So those are some landmarks that you can keep in mind as you lower down onto your back. So your sacrum is supported, and then just about your lowest rib. Scooch that down just a little bit. Right, so then you can adjust your head support here, maybe pulling the blanket in a little bit more. But what you want to kind of go for in terms of support for the head is that your forehead and your chin are either in the same line or your forehead is slightly above your chin. So basically you don't want your chin jutting up towards the ceiling, right? But you also don't need to tuck your chin down into your chest, right? There's should be a natural curve in your neck. Your arms can come to rest down by your side, maybe even bringing them out slightly at an angle from your torso. And because we'll be doing a practice of stillness, if you feel like you are going to get cold in any way, you might grab a third blanket or a sweater or put on some socks, whatever you need to do so that you stay warm throughout the duration of the practice today. So you can continue to kind of let yourself get comfortable. And I'm just going to sit up for the instruction part. So as you begin to kind of settle your body into this pose, notice the mental activity of your mind. And so perhaps there's a bit of anticipation or even trepidation about working this practice into your schedule. And so you might notice that your mind is still caught up in the activity of whatever you were doing prior to this time. And it's not something that you need to change, but you can start to become aware of that. And then whatever story you have going on in your mind, maybe notice if that is creating a particular energy in your body. So is there maybe a feeling of activation? Maybe there's a sense of fatigue or lethargy. Maybe you feel a little bit restless or agitated in some way. Again, just let that be part of the practice and part of the art of observation and awareness. And then you might even start to notice if that energy is creating bodily sensation. So noticing the beating of your heart, maybe any twinges of pain or discomfort you feel in your body today, any places that feel stuck or stiff or tight. Excuse me. And then finally, begin to let your attention move with the function and flow of your breath. And in these first few moments of noticing your breath, notice what qualities you could use to describe your breath. So does your breath feel hurried? Does it feel shallow? Is there an evenness to your inhale and exhale? Or does one part of the breath feel longer than the other? Notice if there's a skip in the breath. Maybe it feels challenging to take a deep breath in, or challenging to release your breath completely. And then notice if there is a particular place in your body where you feel the movement of your breath kind of most prominently. Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your ribs? Do you feel it in your belly? You might start to notice if there is a particular sound attached to your breath. So if you have a regular yoga practice, right, it might be part of your even unconscious habit of breathing in and out through your nose, where that's this slightly audible sound to your breath as it passes back and forth through the back of your throat. Maybe you even notice the temperature of the breath, right? The inhale might feel slightly cooled as it flows in through your nose. And then your exhale might feel warm as it leaves your body. Now, without thinking about this too much, begin to let your breath deepen. So, seeing if you can elongate the inhale and the exhale, but doing so in a way where you're not taking in too much air on the inhale, and you're also not like letting your exhale, forcefully flow out. There is a quality of seamlessness between the inhale and the exhale. So you're breathing to your capacity, right? Not going beyond that capacity, but just filling, right, your lungs with enough breath to satisfy you. And as you explore this opportunity to elongate or lengthen each inhale and exhale, see if you can start to pay attention to that slight pause at the top of your inhale and the slight pause at the bottom of your exhale. Sometimes, when yoga instructors or teachers are talking about the breath, there's, some breathing exercises where you attach a number or a count to the inhale, the pause, and the exhale. That's not what we're doing here. I just want you to start to notice, right, what it feels like. Just become aware of that slight pause at the top of your inhale and the bottom of your exhale. And some things to note: that if you are taking too deep of an inhale, where then after that slight pause the breath comes kind of gushing out forcefully, then don't hold the breath so long. Kind of scale that back. So again, you're finding that seamless flow. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. And this is what we'll call a recovery breath. And so now I'll start to explain the breathing practice that we'll do for the next few moments. And it's a way of segmenting your inhale into kind of 3 sections. So you breathe in just like a third of your capacity, and then a second third, and then a final third, and then there's one continuous exhale all the way out. Then you'll take a recovery breath, so that inhale with a slight pause, and then exhale completely, before then we come into it again. So Some things to become aware of, that sometimes my cueing and my instruction does not align with your breathing rate. And if you find that my instruction is creating any anxiety or tension or frustration, then one thing you might choose to do is to learn the technique by just listening to the instruction and then practicing it on your own without my direction. Another option is to just stay with that recovery breath, right, where you're not segmenting the breath, but you're just breathing intentionally in and out, noticing the slight pause. Right, so then we'll begin with the recovery breath. So inhale to your capacity, pause, one continuous exhale. Now inhale to a third of your capacity, second third, final third, and now one long exhale out. Take your recovery breath. Good. And then inhale a third, inhale second third, inhale that final third, and one continuous exhale all the way out. Take a recovery breath. Inhale to a third, second third, final third, one long exhale. Take your recovery breath. Inhale to a third, a second third, final third, and one long exhale out. Take your recovery breath. Inhale a third, inhale second third, inhale the final third. Exhale your breath all the way out. Take a recovery breath. Good. And then I'm going to pause here for just a moment. So if you felt like that was enough for you to work on, you can continue doing it that way. I'm going to give you like one more way of even visualizing this or feeling it in your body in a slightly different way, where when you breathe in that first third, you might become aware of your belly. When you breathe into the second third, become aware of your chest or even your ribs. And then that final third is more like chest and shoulders and neck. So first third, belly, second third, ribs, final third, chest, shoulders, neck. And again, if that's not working for you, you can explore that on your own. You can turn off the video. You can come back to just doing the recovery breath. Great. So we'll begin with that recovery breath. So inhaling, pause, exhaling. Inhale, first third belly, second third ribs, final third chest. One continuous exhale all the way out. Take a recovery breath. Inhale, third belly. Inhale, ribs. Inhale, chest. One continuous exhale all the way out. Recovery breath. Inhale a third belly. Inhale a third chest, ribs. Inhale that final third chest. Exhale the breath completely. And take 2 more rounds at your own pace. And now stay with your recovery breath. And stay with that recovery breath for a couple more rounds. And now see if you can let your breath come back to kind of a normal rhythm, a normal pattern. So you're not trying to enforce any particular control over your breath. And then come back to the awareness of the quality of your breath. And taking note if anything feels different or new. And then you're welcome to stay here with the blankets supporting your spine. But if you feel like your body maybe needs just a slightly different position, then you can roll off of the blankets supporting your spine, and you can slide them out of the way. Take one of your blankets, unfold it, and then fold it in half, and then in half again, but this time lengthwise. And then go ahead and come onto your back once more, bringing the knees up and over the bolster. This blanket will now support your head. And as you rest down, feeling now your whole spine just settling on the floor. Take some time here to rest. So these final moments for yourself can be an opportunity to let go of any sort of effort that you've made in maybe learning a new breathing pattern for yourself, where right? That focus might have felt a little intense. And now let your awareness just kind of move away from that intensity and to really feel the sense of support underneath you. And to really let that focused attention on breath integrate into the awareness of your body. And to really receive anything that you feel here. So of course, you are more than welcome to continue to rest here. If you find that you are in need of more rest, you can just turn off your computer and continue to be here. Well, thank you so much for your presence, and I hope that was helpful to you in some way.